By the time you get to John chapter 17, Jesus had said everything to his disciples that he had planned to say during his final hours, his final night on earth. Yet there was one more person that Jesus wanted to say something to, and that was his Father in heaven. So in John chapter 17, we read what we would really classify as the Lord's Prayer. The entirety of this chapter contains a prayer that Jesus offers to his Father. Verse 1 begins by telling us, and then Jesus spoke these words, lifting his eyes to heaven. Jesus deliberately, in the text we are told, actually looked up at heaven, which I suppose tells us that he was trying to avoid everything on earth that could be a distraction to discussing something and praying to his Father. The next thing we are told is that he says, Father. That relationship is seen, and we'll see it also in the next things that he says, that not only does he say Father, but he says the hour has come, glorify your Son. There's the Father, the Son, this relationship they have. Glorify your Son that he may glorify you. The hour has come. Jesus now knows that everything has been put into place for his accomplishment of dying on the cross for the sins of all mankind. His own creation that had fallen, he will now die to save. And this is something that I know is weighing very heavily, and we know is weighing very heavily on the heart and the mind of Jesus, and yet he takes the time to pray. He's not so worried and distressed and upset about it that he can't pray. Sometimes we find ourselves in situations where one of the last things that we really think we could do is pray, but Jesus gives us the great example under the greatest of distress and duress to pray. And the relationship, Father. And he knows the hour has come, but instead of saying, let's do something about it, let's avoid it, Father, help me, I don't know what to do. Jesus says, let's turn this into glory. Glorify your Son. His death, Jesus regards as glorification. And that Jesus, in turn, would glorify him. Jesus knew what was coming. Jesus knew how awful it would be. Jesus knew everything was in place and all those events were happening. The people who were coming for him were coming right then. And yet, he says this is glory. If Jesus knew what was coming and he prayed, you and I don't know what's coming. Don't we need to pray?